The movie kicks off with a package being delivered, a regular FedEx box, but it's got this little sticker on it, angel wings. The guy who gets the package says it's from his wife, while he's clearly with another woman. That's all we get for now. Just a small, quiet red flag. Then we meet Chuck Noland. He works for FedEx as a systems analyst, and he's all about efficiency. This guy lives and breathes logistics. He travels constantly, making sure packages get delivered faster, smoother, better. Right now, he's in Russia, fine-tuning the system at one of their hubs. Test how well things are running. Chuck sends a package to himself all the way from Memphis to this small house in Russia. A kid from that house runs it over to the FedEx facility, hands it to Chuck, and he opens it. Inside, a clock, a timer that started ticking the moment it was sent. It shows 87 hours, 22 minutes, and 17 seconds. To Chuck, that's unacceptable. He wants precision, speed, control. Chuck is the kind of guy who lives on deadlines, and that mindset bleeds into everything, except maybe his relationship with Kelly. They've been together a while, and despite the chaos of his job, they've managed to keep it going. From Russia, Chuck calls Kelly. He tells her he'll be back home in Memphis in about 18 hours. Sure enough, he gets back, they reunite, and everything feels warm and loving between them. They head to Chuck's family Christmas dinner, and of course, someone brings up marriage. Chuck and Kelly just laugh it off, clearly not ready to go there, or maybe just dodging it for now. That night, while eating, Chuck feels a sharp pain, probably a tooth problem, but then his pager goes off. He and Kelly lock eyes. She knows what it means. Work is calling again. It's the holidays, but Chuck's got a job to do. She asks him to try and be home before New Year's Eve. He promises he will. At the airport, right before he boards, Kelly gives him a gift. It's an old pocket watch, something passed down in her family. Chuck is moved. Then he gives her a small box, something he tells her to wait to open. They'll do it together on New Year's. She thinks it might be a ring. He doesn't say. And then he's off. Chuck boards a FedEx cargo plane headed to Malaysia. He's flying with a small crew, just 4 others. A few hours into the flight, things go bad. Real bad. A storm hits. The pilots lose radio contact. There's a loud bang, some kind of explosion, and the plane starts violently shaking. One of the crew members tries to get Chuck back to his seat, but hits his head hard in the chaos. The plane's going down, fast. Through a window, Chuck sees the ocean rising to meet them, and then they crash. Underwater in darkness, the wreck is filling with water. Chuck scrambles, panicking, but somehow manages to grab a life raft and get himself out of the wreckage. He floats through the storm, tossed around by waves, barely hanging on. Eventually, by some miracle, Chuck washes up on the shore of an uninhabited island. The emergency raft saved his life. He crawls out, soaked and wrecked, but alive. The watch Kelly gave him? Still with him. A few FedEx packages have floated ashore too. He's completely alone, no sign of anyone. No nearby land, just ocean and sky. He scratches out a giant help sign in the sand, hoping a plane might spot it. Then he looks at the pocket watch again. Day 1 begins. The next morning, he finds more packages. He finds coconuts, cracks them open for water. Basic survival mode kicks in. He explores the island, finds a cave to take shelter in, then climbs to the highest point he can reach, trying to get a full view of his new reality. He's stranded, alone, and it's just the beginning. From the top of the island, Chuck spots something floating in the water. He climbs down to check it out, hoping maybe it's debris, maybe something useful. But instead, it's the body of the pilot, the one who tried to help him during the crash. Chuck doesn't just leave him there. He digs a grave with his bare hands, lays the pilot to rest, and covers him up. It's a small, quiet act of respect, maybe the only thing he can do for the man who tried to save his life. That night, still stranded, still nowhere closer to getting home, Chuck stares at Kelly's photo, the one tucked inside the pocket watch she gave him. On his 3rd night, he sees a ship, way out on the horizon. It's the first sign of hope. He screams for help, waves his arms, flashes his tiny flashlight, but it's too far. No one hears him. Desperate, he grabs the damaged raft and tries to paddle out to reach it. But the waves are brutal. They toss him around, and at one point he slams into a coral reef. His leg gets cut deep. Bleeding, exhausted, defeated, Chuck drags himself back to shore. Then, like a final punch, it starts pouring. He stumbles into the cave he found earlier and finds a small stream inside. He drinks. That night, the batteries in his flashlight die, and he crashes into sleep in total darkness. The next morning, he goes through the FedEx packages looking for anything that could help. In one of them, he finds a volleyball. In another, a pair of old ice skates. And in one more, a dress. It's random stuff, but Chuck starts making use of it. He uses the ice skate blade to hack open coconuts. The dress becomes a net to catch fish. But there's one package he doesn't open, the one with angel wings. He keeps that one sealed like a mission, something to hold on to. Then comes the fight to make fire. He tries for hours, rubbing sticks, scraping, cutting. His hands bleed, his patience snaps. He screams, breaks things, completely loses it. But then he sees the volleyball, now smudged with his own bloody handprint. He stares at it, then draws a face on it. He props it up across from him like it's a person. He starts talking to it. And just like that, Wilson is born. Not long after, Chuck finally gets a fire going. For the first time, something works. He cheers. He dances around like a madman. That night, he roasts a crab and shares his victory with Wilson, talking to the ball like it's an old friend. But survival doesn't stay easy. One day, Chuck's toothache gets so bad, he can't take it anymore. So he uses the blade of the skate and a rock to knock it out himself. It's brutal. He passes out from the pain. Then, jump forward 4 years. Chuck looks nothing like the man who first washed up on that island. His hair and beard are long and wild, his body's lean, sun-baked. Wilson's still around, weathered and faded, but just as important to Chuck as ever. That ball somehow has kept him grounded. One night he hears something outside the cave. He steps out and finds a broken piece of a plastic porta-potty door that's washed ashore. Random, yeah, but Chuck doesn't brush it off. He takes it back with him and starts thinking. That piece, that could be a sail. Now, Chuck's not just surviving anymore. He's planning. He marks time with a handmade calendar. It's February. He tells Wilson, "We're getting out in April. That's when the ocean currents will shift in his favor." He's done waiting. He starts building a raft. He ties logs together with ropes he's made from tree bark. When he runs out of bark, he even uses old cassette tape reels to hold the raft together, but it's still not enough. He needs more rope. So he climbs back to the top of the island, the place where this whole chapter started, because now he's got a real shot at leaving. So here's something we didn't know before. During those 4 long years on the island, Chuck got so hopeless, he almost ended his own life. He even tested the strength of the rope, not for building a raft, but for something darker. But in the end, he didn't do it. Somehow, he held on. Now, he uses that same rope to tie the final pieces of his raft together. He secures the plastic sheet from the porta-potty door as a makeshift sail. He's ready. Before leaving, Chuck writes a message on a rock, something like a note for anyone who might one day find it. Then he grabs Wilson, climbs aboard, and pushes off. The sea doesn't make it easy. The waves hit hard, and Chuck has to fight just to keep the raft upright. But he manages. He's finally out, free from the island. For a while, things look good. He floats day after day, hoping the ocean will eventually take him home. But it doesn't take long for reality to hit. There's no food, no clean water. Chuck starts drinking rainwater when he can collect it, and he catches fish to survive. Then one night, a brutal storm hits. The ocean goes wild, and Chuck clings to the raft with everything he's got. When morning comes, the raft is barely holding together, and Wilson is gone. Chuck looks around, panicked. He sees Wilson, the volleyball that's been his only friend for 4 years, floating away. He dives in after it. He reaches out with one hand, trying to swim toward Wilson, while the other grips the raft. But the current keeps pulling them apart. He has to let go of the raft for a second to get the rope back. And by the time he turns around, Wilson is too far. Chuck calls out, begging, crying, but it's no use. Wilson is gone. He gets back to what's left of the raft and breaks down, not just because of the storm or the hunger or the exhaustion, but because he's just lost the one thing that kept him from losing his mind out there. Chuck's weak. He's sick. He can't even move. Then out of nowhere, a whale surfaces and sprays water right next to him, and just behind it, a cargo ship, a real, massive ship. Chuck opens his eyes. He turns, barely believing it. After everything, the crash, the island, the storms, Wilson, he's finally rescued. 4 weeks later, Chuck's back on a plane, flying home. His friend tells him the world had moved on. They thought he was dead. They even held a funeral. When Chuck lands, he meets a man who introduces himself as Kelly's husband. Chuck doesn't know what to say. He just stands there, silent, processing. Kelly, the woman he held on to in his heart through every day on that island, is married. Later, his friends and family throw a party to celebrate his return. But even in the middle of that, Chuck feels out of place. He looks at a lobster on the table, and it reminds him of the crabs he roasted on the beach. He flips open a lighter, and it brings back the memory of how hard he fought just to make fire. That night, he can't even sleep in a bed. He lies on the floor staring at Kelly's watch, the one she gave him years ago, still ticking. He knows he needs closure. So, he takes a taxi to Kelly's house. Just as he's about to ring the bell, she opens the door. They stand there for a second, not saying anything. Then she hugs him. A deep, emotional hug like no time had passed. Chuck gives her back the watch. He says it's hers, a family heirloom. She's shocked he still has it. Then she shows him something. She kept his old car all this time. She hands him the keys. Chuck gets in the driver's seat. Before he can pull away, Kelly kisses him. Then she stops, pulls back. It's like everything they feel is stuck between what used to be and what is now. Chuck drives off, but Kelly runs after him, calling his name. He stops the car, gets out, and they kiss again. It's not clear what happens next, but in that moment, they're just two people, not bound by expectations, just by everything they've been through. Back at Kelly's house after the kiss and all the emotions rushing in, They finally talk. She tells Chuck that after 4 years of thinking he was gone forever, she had to move on. She didn't want to, but she didn't see any other choice. Still, she says she never stopped loving him, and she never will. Chuck tells her he loves her too. That part's never changed. But now, they both know. It's too late. Kelly has a family now, a life she can't just walk away from. So as hard as it is, they both agree it's time to let go. Chuck walks away from the woman he survived for, the woman he came back for. Not because he wants to, but because it's the only thing that makes sense. In the final part of the movie, we see Chuck driving through the open road, alone again, but with a quiet sense of purpose. He's delivering the packages he once opened on the island, returning them to their rightful owners. One by one. At one house, no one answers, so he leaves a package at the door. It's the one package he never opened, the one with the angel wings. He sticks a note to it. "This package saved my life. Thank you, Chuck Noland." Driving away, Chuck pulls over and looks at a map. He's at a literal crossroads, a place in the middle of nowhere with 4 different roads leading out. And for the first time in a long time, he has no fixed destination, no schedule, no deadline, just choice. Then, a truck pulls up. A woman gets out and asks if he's lost or needs directions. Chuck asks her where the road ahead goes. She tells him, smiles, and heads back to her truck. As she drives away, Chuck sees something on the back of her vehicle. Those same angel wings. The exact same ones that were on the package he kept unopened for 4 years. The one he held on to as a reason to survive. That package belonged to her. And just like that, the movie ends. Chuck Noland, once obsessed with time and control, is now a man who's lost everything and maybe found something new. Not a final answer, but a new beginning.